This morning, we light our chalice, the symbol of our living faith, with the turning of the year and the turning of our lives foremost in our minds and hearts. If you've joined us online this morning, I invite you to light your own chalice or candle along with us. Small light in rising dark, we hold close to you for illumination and for warmth. We know you have powers to sustain life and to bring death, and we honor this cycle, part of the living breath of the world. Life, death, and rebirth, the small path lit by flame, the warmth of the fire that settles us and settles within us. Today, we welcome our ancestors, those we have long missed, and those whose loss is still fresh. We join together in the space of comfort around the living fire of our faith.
Listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the fire's voices heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the water. Those who have died have never left. The dead are not under the earth. They are in the rustling trees. They are in the groaning woods. They are in the crying grass. They are in the moaning rocks. The dead are not under the earth. So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Those who have died have never left. The dead have a pact with the living. They are in the woman's breast. They are in the wailing child. They are with us in our homes. They are with us in this crowd. The dead have a pact with the living. So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters.
At this time of year, in the Unitarian Universalist tradition and in many faith traditions around that we claim as sources in many other faith traditions around the world, when the seasons turn from lighter to darker, when we move through the autumn's season of harvest, we honor our beloved dead. As the turned soil rests in the winter months, we take this celebration of the final harvest to honor all those who have died. We consider those long gone, and we hold our grief anew for more recent losses. I know that today there are people hearing these words who are in every stage of grief. No matter how deep, no matter how complicated, we lift that grief up today, not to hide it, not to mask it, but to honor it. It is our right and our sacred duty to mourn our dead. This morning, I am inviting you into a special ritual of remembrance. I am lighting 3 candles from our chalice, one for each bowl of sand that is up here. We are going to have a beautiful litany sung by our choir, and during that time, at the end of when I am done speaking, I will invite you to come up if you feel so moved. Light a single candle. There are baskets of them at either end. Please light 1 candle per person. We want to make sure everyone has the time and space to partake in this ritual if they so choose. So please light 1 candle in memory of your beloved dead. Our choir is singing a litany of the names submitted by you. There are nearly 90 on the list. This is going to be a powerful ritual. If you missed a chance or you don't hear your loved one's name, please know that we did try to include all that we could. And if you send me a note, I'll make sure that your beloved dead is mentioned next week in Matters of the Heart. Please be careful, supervise your children when they come up here with flame, and I do want to let you all know it is the second to last day of Fire Safety Month. I have the extinguisher right here behind the table. So don't worry, it's going to be okay. So whether you choose to come forward to light a candle or not, I invite you to give your attention to the beauty of the song and of the light that we build together out of our mourning.
Also feel free to join in on the refrain. It's very simple. You are not forgotten.
You are not forgotten. You are not forgotten. You are not forgotten. You are not forgotten. You are not forgotten. You are not forgotten. You are not forgotten.
Mary Connolly,
You are not forgotten.
Andrew Connolly,
You are not forgotten.
Daniel Connolly,
You are not forgotten.
David Alcoy,
You are not forgotten.
Winifred Alcoy,
You are not forgotten.
Luther,
You are not forgotten.
James and Esther,
You are not forgotten.
Olivia,
You are not forgotten.
Stuart Boughton,
You are not forgotten.
Rhoda Boughton,
You You are not forgotten.
Riddle breaker,
You are not forgotten.
Eli breaker,
You are not forgotten.
Martin Broadhurst,
You are not forgotten.
Michael Brown,
You are not forgotten.
John Birken,
You are not forgotten.
Colleen Birken,
You are not forgotten. Dolores Butcher.
you are not forgotten.
Philip Carlton.
You are not forgotten.
Catherine Carter.
You are not forgotten.
Laken Castetter.
You are not forgotten.
Leroy Chesney.
You are not forgotten.
Howard Clark.
You are not forgotten.
Paula Creedison.
You are not forgotten.
Lisa Deckman.
You are not forgotten.
You are not forgotten.
William Peters,
You are not forgotten.
Tishon Elliker,
You are not forgotten.
Holly Elliker,
You are not forgotten.
Joan Ennis,
You are not forgotten.
George Ashbaugh,
You are not forgotten.
Mary Kay Ashbaugh,
You are not forgotten.
Barbara Fulton,
You are not forgotten.
Bill Fulton.
You are not forgotten.
Gladys May Wolfcrest Gerver.
You are not forgotten.
Janet Green.
You are not forgotten.
George Paul Haldeman.
You are not forgotten.
Jeff Haldeman.
You are not forgotten.
Grace Hawk.
You are not forgotten.
Julie Hershey.
You are not forgotten.
Nancy Hershey.
You are not forgotten.
Trevor Hershey.
You are not forgotten.
Russ and Martha Hall.
You are not forgotten.
Bob Key.
You are not forgotten.
Nadia Compton.
You are not forgotten.
Clay Henry Kress.
You are not forgotten.
Louise Kruger.
You are not forgotten.
Gordon Kruger.
You are not forgotten.
Wally Lamb.
You are not forgotten. Dory Leader.
You are not forgotten.
Henry Leader.
You are not forgotten.
Patricia B. Learned.
You are not forgotten.
Harry Lukowski.
You are not forgotten.
Mary Lukowski.
You are not forgotten.
Peter Lukowski.
You are not forgotten.
Daniel Lukowski,
You are not forgotten.
Brett John Majorowitz,
You are not forgotten.
Kay Marshall,
You are not forgotten.
Patrick McCoy,
You are not forgotten.
Tom Miser,
You are not forgotten.
Phyllis Minerva,
You are not forgotten.
Daisy Myers,
you are not forgotten.
Margaret Old,
You are not forgotten.
Lana Horry,
You are not forgotten.
Karen Penzola,
You are not forgotten.
Dan Pinzola,
You are not forgotten.
Ruth Robb,
You are not forgotten.
Linda Ragsdale,
You are not forgotten.
Juanita Raines,
You are not forgotten.
Bob Rees,
You are not
forgotten.
Winifred Schweiger,
You are not forgotten.
Ruth Snell,
You are not forgotten.
William Snell,
You are not forgotten. Brian Stevens.
You are not forgotten.
Edward Sue.
You are not forgotten.
Michaela Tallman.
You are not forgotten.
Mary Toomey.
You are not forgotten.
Sandy Twitchell.
You are not forgotten.
R. Thomas Walker.
You are not forgotten.
Kathy Eileen Cresswarfel.
You are not forgotten.
Brian Wishner.
You are not forgotten.
Ada Ruth Witzmer,
You are not forgotten.
Thunder Shelley Witzmer,
You are not forgotten.
Richard Mulford,
You are not forgotten.
Vivian Wolford,
You are not forgotten.
At this time, I'm going to light a final candle to honor those who may not have yet had a candle lit, for those in the minds and hearts of those joining us online today. Remember always that while we can feel the love of those that are gone, they are still with us. Blessed be.
Our reading today is In Blackwater Woods by Mary Oliver. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds and every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this, the fires, and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go.
Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this: the fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go. I stopped wearing contact lenses in the summer of 2009 when I was 37 years old and my father was dying. My relationship with contacts had grown contentious. I felt increasingly cranky with them, how dry my eyes felt by the end of the day, and suddenly, every day, I was crying at least once, sometimes multiple times a day. It was the last straw. Back to glasses for me. Sometimes I tell that story, and people ask me, so you were never tempted to go back to contacts then, maybe when you stopped crying so much? No, and no. Tears are not the way that everyone responds to loss and to grief, but they are the way that I respond, and they're the way many of us respond. And tears are strange things, avoided by some, embraced by some, misunderstood in many instances. Why are you crying when you're happy? You might as well ask why I'm laughing when I'm sad. Because the ordering of our emotions, the attempts to make them do what we want them to do or think they should do, especially in times of grief, to do such a thing is to deny their very necessity. Grief is messy. It needs to be messy because life is messy. Because humanity and love and caring and consideration and growing in depth and understanding of the complexity of those that we know and love and care for, those are messy. They're too big to contain. But they are never too big to honor, to laugh for, to cry tears of gratitude that the grief has shown up again, reminding us how well we have loved and have been loved and are loved. To cry out with the pain of loss, to feel its ache, and then to come live within our bodies, our complicated, messy bodies, once again, until it is our time at last to depart, to leave the mess and move into the mystery, to that black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. We've lit so many candles. We have honored our dead well. We have called out to our ancestors, especially those very newest, with all the tears catching within our hearts and all the laughter we still feel waiting in our chests, ready to burst forth. We have built a mighty light out of the reflected tears of our sorrow. It will warm us with the truth of our loss and of our love, until we turn our attention again to how it is we are to live. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go. To let it go. So may it be. Please join us in extinguishing our chalice and your home chalices if you have lit them with these words: "We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again." We have had our beautiful musical benediction, and I will now leave you with these brief words of spoken benediction. The temptation is simply to read Mary Oliver again. So I will. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. Carry the light of the flames of our community, the light that has arisen from our mourning and our loss and our grief and our joy and our sorrow and all of our messy lives. Carry it with you into this week.